Slope stability. So in the last lecture I have discussed about seismic reflection test. So, and this is the seismic reflection survey or the seismic reflection test, where the velocity of the soil layer is determined and the thickness of the soil layer is also determined. And as I mentioned in this test, the travel time of two waves. One is the direct ray wave from the source to the receiver, and another is the reflected wave. So these reflected waves, so by the identification of these two waves, that is direct wave and reflected wave, is sometimes difficult. So when we will go for the next test, which is seismic reflection test, another one, here we are measuring the velocity of the soil layer, that is layer 1 and the thickness of the layer 1, that is velocity and thickness of the layer 1. So this method is suitable if the soil is homogeneous kind of soil. But if the soil is a layer kind of soil, which is common in most of the cases, that is having different soils, then you have to go for the next technique, which is seismic reflection survey. Now, as I have already discussed, we will apply the hammer blows. So in this, so these are the receivers present. So this will receive the wave, and then it will identify the travel time of the wave from the source to the receiver, either it is a direct or reflected. And then we can generate different waves depending upon how we are applying the hammer blows, either it is a P wave or the S wave. Now there are two curves that I have discussed, and instead of going one particular two curves, we can go for a single curve, making a square xn square and tr, that is tr square, and with that square curve we will get the straight line, and from the straight line we can get the Vp1 and the Z value. This is the part of the wave that is reflected back towards the ground surface, that will be arriving at the receiver. By measuring Tr and X and knowing Vp1 from the direct wave calculation, the thickness of the upper layer can be calculated. So next one, that will go for the seismic refraction survey. Now in the seismic refraction survey, so this is the source. You have to put the n number of geophones, and we have to say this is the soil layer. So the bedrock, that is initial, is the bedrock, because if the seismic reflection we got as it is a homogeneous case, but here it may not be homogeneous, it can be of different soils. So here instead of bedrock we can go for a soil layer of different thickness, that is different soil layers with different thicknesses. So what will happen, here also we put the hammer blow and the receiver. So instead of measuring two waves, the receiver will measure the travel time of the first wave, the wave that will reach the receiver first. So that will call it as the first arrival time of the wave. So that can be direct wave, that can be our reflected wave. That is one wave is the direct wave, and another receiver is called as the reflected wave. Because when you are talking about reflection survey, there is a possibility that can be reflected waves. So the receiver will indicate, so the first arrival time of the wave. So there is an advantage, here we are not measuring two different waves, whether one is direct wave and one is reflected. Here we are measuring the first wave arrival time, it can be direct or reflected or refracted waves. So now, in this way we are getting, so now we will get the properties of different soil layer. So here another advantage is we can determine the thickness of different layers and the velocity of different layers. So let us again derive the equations. So now we will determine the properties of the layers and the velocity of different layers. So let us again derive the equations. So what will happen is that suppose this is the ground surface where source, and this is the different layer. So suppose the layer 1, that is Vp1, and the layer 2 Vp2, and the layer 3 as Vp3. So now we are putting geophones. So that is our geophones. This S is the source. Then again, if this is the source, there will be the n number of waves. So there will be one wave which will reach the geophone directly. So another wave, there is a possibility that it will reach by these reflected waves. So this is the direct wave, and another is the reflected wave. There will be a refraction also that we did not consider in the previous case. So how this is the expression? So now suppose this is the wave shown in the figure. Depending upon this wave is coming, depending upon the density of the soil, the reflected wave can move from the normal, because this wave's velocity is the function of the density of the soil. Thus, as the density of the soil increases, the wave velocity will also increase, and if the density decreases, the wave velocity also decreases. So now if we can say that the direction of the wave, this is the direction of the wave shown in dotted line. So suppose if that Vp1 is greater than Vp2, that means this is the high speed material, and another one is the low speed material. Vp1 is the high speed material and Vp2 is the low speed material. So the wave will reflected towards the normal. That means if Vp1 is equal to Vp2, there will be possibility. So this will be the possible path of the refracted wave. If this is the case 1, case 2, that Vp2 is greater than Vp1, then the wave will be refracted either from the normal. So this, if I take the travel path of the wave, so this is I and this is, so I can, so no, what does this mean? Means refracted ray will be received by the receiver. It will never reach to the surface. So we place the geophone. It means we have to follow this blue path. Now if we follow this blue path, then that means one condition is that we have to follow the case 2, where your velocity of the second layer must be greater than the velocity of the first layer. You have to remember that this is very important, that you will get the good result or the better result if your velocity of the layer increases with depth. That means if the velocity of the lower layer is greater than the velocity of the upper layer, then only you will get the good results. Otherwise it may be difficult, because we have the velocity of the lower layer is greater than the velocity of the upper layer because of the overburden pressure. So because of this layering, where they will be density will be increasing with depth, so the velocity will increase with depth and it will follow the path. So this is important. Now if sometimes we do not have this type of layering, and we will not get good result compared to the previous one, then you have to go for the third option, that is seismic cross hole survey. So now if we are placing geophone, so there is a particular wave where because of this angle, instead of these waves following this path, so there is a particular ground surface. So in this source is the S, so it will follow the path. here we are taking alpha equal to 90 degrees inclination. So if we follow this path, then this angle is called as a critical angle. So IC is called critical angle. So alpha will be equal to 90 degrees. When we follow this path again, it will be in a reverse direction and it will be reverse path. So it will again, that is I suffix C, that is critical angle. So this it will reach into the ground. So now there is another question, that what we have considered this path, because of the refracted ray we have to consider another path, because we have placed geophone. If we place geophone here, we have to consider, that is G is the geophone, we have to consider this wave or path of the reflected rays. So as we have considered this, so first compared to the reflected rays, so because of this reflected rays travel path is more than the direct rays travel path, and we are talking about the first travel time of the wave. And another option, that when this reflected ray is traveling with the path 1, when it is traveling with the layer, it is VP1, when it is traveling here, it is VP2. So you can see, when this length of the zone increases, so there is a possibility that this wave may reach first compared to this direct rays, because our VP2 is greater than VP1 in the previous expression. So that means we are removing reflected wave, it will not reach first, because reflected rays, either the direct ray will reach first or the refracted ray will reach first. Because the reflected rays, this velocity is greater than the VP1. So we are now removing the reflected rays, because we are talking about the first arrival time of the wave. So reflected ray will never reach first. So we are removing this reflected ray. So we are now considering direct ray and the refractor ray. So if we increase the distance from the source to the geophone, the possibility of the refracted rays to reach geophone will increase. So there is one particular distance where the direct ray and the refractor ray will reach at the same time. So if you place geophone from the distance, this is called the critical distance. So that is a critical angle similar to the critical distance. Critical distance means where the direct ray and the reflected ray will reach at the same time to the geophone. Where the directed ray and the reflected ray will reach the geophone in the same time, that is called as a critical distance. So now that angle is called as a critical distance. Now next we are considering for the derivation process purpose, we are considering this is the geophone, that is S, and G is the geophone. So this is the VP1 first layer, second layer VP2, and the third layer VP3. Remember that VP3 is greater than VP2 is greater than VP1. So now we are quickly will give the expression of the derivation. That means there is a direct ray. So similarly, I am doing the derivation of the second layer. So this is the first layer is the VP1, second layer VP2, and third layer VP3. So there is a direct ray T suffix D, which is again T suffix D is equal to Xn by VP1. So we know that this, if the angle is alpha 1, so sin alpha 1 is divided by VP1, and this is angle if alpha 2 is, so that will be equal to sin alpha 2 divided by VP2 is equal to 1 by VP2. Sin alpha 1 is equal to VP1 by VP2, or sin 90 degrees equal to 1. Then TR equal to Z1 by VP1 cos alpha C, where alpha 1 is equal to alpha C. By SA plus AB plus BG, that is plus Xn by Xn minus 2x1 tan PC by Vp1 plus Z1 by Vp1 cos alpha C. So final expression will come as tan alpha c equal to Vp1 by Vp2 Vp1 by square root of Vp2 square minus Vp1 square. Then Tr equal to xn by Vp2 plus 2z1 root over 1 minus Vp1 square minus 1 by Vp2 square. So this is our equation number 2. So our equation number 1 was that is the direct trace equation. So that is Td is equal to xn by Vp1. So this is the equation number 1. So this is the refracted ray equation travel time and this is the direct ray travel time. We are measuring the first travel time. So instead of again taking one particular geophone, here also we are taking n number of geophone and then we'll draw the graph. So here we are going to draw the graph. So this is our xn and this is the t. Xn on x-axis and t is on y-axis. The t is the first arrival time of this wave. So now, as I mentioned, if we increase the distance from the geophone to the source, then the possibility of the refracted wave will reach first. So when the distance is very less, then the direct ray will reach first to the geophone. If the distance increases, the refracted ray will reach first to the geophone. So we are measuring the first arrival time. So what we'll get? For suppose this is the first position of the first, that is first, second, third, and up to n number of geophone. So we'll get this type of point. So if I join these points, so we'll get this type of curve. So which indicate that this path will follow equation number 1 and this curve will follow equation number 2. And if I extend this line, this will give the critical distances xc, where both the curves are both the rays reach at the same time. So we can say that the slope of this curve, that is the slope of this curve will give Vp1. This is the slope of the curve. Equation number, that is 1 by Vp1 and slope of the curve will give 1 by Vp2. So this is Vp2, 1 by Vp1 and 1 by Vp2. So now we are extending the equation number 2. So this is T naught corresponding to xn. Xn is equal to 0. So if I put this value in equation number 2, from equation number 2, so this is T naught will be equal to 2z1 into square root of 1 by Vp1 square minus 1 by Vp2 square. That is equation 1 is equal to equation 2. So this is the critical distance approach